Hey guys, so I want to do a quick comparison here between the Pixel 2, latest and greatest from Google, and the iPhone 8 here. So the two of the best phones on the market right now, and I wanted to see who reigns supreme. I gotta say, there's definitely some pros and cons here to consider on both handsets. Things like active display here, arguably better camera on the Pixel 2. We are going to check that out though in this video and see. So we'll just start off here looking at the performance. We'll boot them both down and then start them up. We are running the latest Oreo here. As you can see, some nice new gestures when it comes to the boot down. So both boot down about the same. So who's going to boot up first? Oh, that is a fast boot up. So Pixel 2 is completely blown away the iPhone when it comes to the boot up, which is nice. And some people say the boot up's not important, but some of us do boot up the phone every day because it clears down the memory, etc. So we can just quickly look here at the phones and what they bring to the table. With the Pixel, you're getting dual front-facing speakers, which is actually fantastic when it comes to immersiveness. You're also getting Super AMOLED display here, much superior when it comes to the viewing angles I have found compared to the iPhone 7. Slightly worse in terms of the water resistance though compared to the iPhone, which IP68 versus your IP67. Both of them are depriving you of a headphone jack. Both very stupid decision if you ask me. They're very user hostile at the end of the day. It doesn't really serve much purpose. Other things to consider here is the active display. You do get that on the Pixel here. It's not quite as bright as what you get on some of the Android phones, but you don't even get one on the iPhone this year, and that is a bit lame. Other things to consider, the software obviously. We are getting Android Oreo here, has some very nice features, which I think makes it the superior operating system at the end of the day. You can multitask, you can open up stuff, and then, hang on, let's just try that again. We can just go back here. So we can open up stuff, and then we can multitask like that. But you can't do that on the iPhone still in 2017, which is really basic. Another thing which I noticed is missing on the iPhone is a clear all button. Still no way, to get rid of everything like you would on Android here. So that's the reason why I'd never make it my main phone. Just missing features which are very basic. Other things which Google have implemented actually is the percentage bar here on the latest Oreo, which was missing from the previous Pixel. So that is quite a nice addition here. And overall, the software just feels much nicer, in terms of freshness and ease of use. I'd even say usually it used to be the iPhone which was the easier software to use, but I do find myself going mad a little bit when it comes to finding things. But that could be just because I'm an Android user. So we can just have a look here how the performance is on both handsets and see, if they are comparable here. So we'll just close everything down and open up a few. So running latest updates on both of them, no excuses. And I remember back in the day, Apple users were like, how slow is Android? But to me, it seems that Android is much faster here, generally, on most of them. A lot of them is, animation a little bit. Ooh, that's a bit weird. I think iOS 11 has some bugs still. And camera here. So quite comparable when it comes to the inbuilt apps, which is really impressive actually when it comes to Android, because if you remember, the inbuilt Android apps were atrocious when it came to the performance. And you can see, even though this opened faster on the iPhone, look how nice it is on the Google phone. It's like they put so much more effort in. Let's just see some games here. And another one. So a little bit back and forth here for the game. You can see one opened up a little bit faster on the iPhone, then went back to the Pixel. Not as clear cut as before, it seems. iPhone again, just by a smidgen The saying that the iPhone benches like 4 times as fast as your nearest Android, it's amazing how the difference really isn't that pronounced. It's done quite well though when it comes to the games still. So let's have a look at the speed here of Wi-Fi, another important aspect. Which, last year the Pixel was pretty marvellous when it came to this. So very decent score when it comes to the iPhone for the Wi-Fi. Very respectable. Expecting good things here from the Pixel, the Android flag bearer. But no, can't reach the iPhone. So props where props is due. The upload seems to be quite strong though, in comparison. But you can't be good in everything, so we'll give the iPhone that. We'll just check out the multitasking as well. I don't think there's going to be a huge difference here, other than how annoying it is still, doing it horizontally. And yeah, you can see both of them pretty identical. I'm always going to give props to iOS for doing such a good job with the memory management on such 2 gigs of RAM. And you can see very comparable. Let's have a look at the games. That was a bit quicker on the iPhone, I know. No issues here when it comes to the multitasking. Very good. Because usually these new software sometimes have some issues with them, but I'm not seeing any, which is good. Let's check out as well the, let's just do that again, this one. Let's just check out as well the cameras here, because this has been really hyped up, the Pixel 2 being the best camera in the market. And I wanted to see for myself, because you can't trust everyone. So let's just get them in front of you here. So we did do some in low light, as you can see. And I'm going to say, I'm going to agree when it comes to low light. The low light on the Pixel 2 is pretty fantastic in terms of the stills. You can definitely see a lot of detail here in comparison to the iPhone, which does lose quite a bit of detail, even though it does have optical image stabilization. In terms of the good light, I wouldn't say the differences are that pronounced really. I'd say they're quite comparable actually. Maybe the Pixel gives you slightly more saturation and slightly better in terms of the HDR as well, like the very long range shots are fantastic on the Pixel, but I wouldn't say it's very bad as well on the iPhone really. I think the iPhone does have optical image stabilization, which we would like to see on the Pixel given the price of the phone, but I think it gets on quite well nevertheless. However, I do think the video still goes towards the iPhone because of the optical image stabilization. To me, it just looks much more higher quality in comparison to the Pixel, which is good. But the iPhone is untouchable right now when it comes to video recording. It looks like it comes from a professional DSLR, so that is something to consider really. So if you want to conclude here, you can see stills for the Pixel 2, absolutely fantastic performance, and video for the iPhone 8, which is pretty good given the age of the phone. Well, in fact, it's not that old at the end of the day. It's expected to be a good handset nevertheless. So what can we say about these two phones then? Who do they appeal to? I'd say if you're looking for your freedom, and your customization, the Pixel 2 is far more enjoyable when it comes to that. Like the software feels fresher, much more lively things to do. The Google Assistant integration is far better as well, suggesting things When it comes to the iPhone, you are getting the brand prestige. Many people don't even know what a Pixel is still, and yet you're paying, top whack price. So some people might be thinking, you might as well just get an iPhone, which gives you a bit more brand prestige here. It'll probably hold its value better as well going forward. So you are getting, I think, better waterproofing standard as well. There's some things to consider on the iPhone. So yeah, just a quick little comparison here between the Pixel 2 and the iPhone 8. I'll be doing some of the comparisons with some high-end Android phones, so do stay tuned for that. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!